Every day life throws chaos at you. The unexpected phone call that changes everything. The criticism that cuts deep. The betrayal that shakes your foundation. The failure that makes you question your worth. In these moments, most people crumble. They react. They lash out. They spiral into anxiety, anger, or despair. But there exists an ancient wisdom, forged in the crucible of Roman emperors and Greek slaves, that teaches us something profound. You can become unshakable. The Stoics discovered that true power isn't found in controlling the world around you, but in mastering the world within you. They understood that while you cannot control what happens to you, you possess absolute sovereignty over how you respond. This is the difference between those who are swept away by life's storms and those who stand firm, unbroken, unmoved. The first secret lies in understanding that your emotions are not facts. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the ancient world, wrote in his private journal that we suffer more in imagination than reality. When someone insults you, betrays your trust, or attacks your character, your immediate impulse is to feel wounded, angry, or defensive. But the Stoics knew something revolutionary. These emotions are not inevitable reactions to external events. They are judgments you make about those events. The insult itself has no power over you. Only your interpretation of it does. This is why Epictetus, who endured slavery and physical disability, could say that no one can hurt you without your permission. The unshakable person learns to pause between stimulus and response. They examine their initial emotional reaction and ask, is this feeling based on what actually happened, or on the story I'm telling myself about what happened? When you master this distinction, you become emotionally invulnerable, not because you don't feel, but because you choose what deserves your emotional energy. The second secret is learning to love your fate, what the Stoics called amor fati. This doesn't mean becoming passive or accepting abuse. It means recognizing that everything that happens to you, including the painful and unwanted, can become the raw material for your growth. Seneca, who faced exile, loss of fortune, and eventually death by suicide on Nero's orders, wrote that every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. The unshakable person doesn't waste energy wishing their circumstances were different. They don't spend precious mental resources fighting reality or lamenting what could have been. Instead, they ask a more powerful question. How can I use this situation to become stronger, wiser, or more compassionate? When you embrace this mindset, you transform from a victim of circumstance into an architect of character. Every setback becomes a setup for a comeback. Every obstacle becomes a stepping stone. Every enemy becomes a teacher. This is how you become truly undefeatable, not by avoiding life's challenges, but by making them work for you. The third secret involves your relationship with discomfort. Most people spend their lives avoiding pain, seeking pleasure, and trying to make everything easy. But the Stoics understood that comfort is the enemy of growth. Marcus Aurelius regularly practiced voluntary discomfort, sleeping on hard floors and eating simple foods, not because he was masochistic, but because he was training his mind to be independent of external conditions. When you regularly expose yourself to minor discomforts voluntarily, you build resilience for when major discomforts arrive involuntarily. The cold shower you don't want to take, the difficult conversation you've been avoiding, the workout when you'd rather stay in bed, the healthy meal when you crave junk food. Each time you choose the harder path when the easier one is available, you're making deposits in your resilience bank account. You're proving to yourself that you can handle whatever life throws at you. The unshakable person doesn't flee from discomfort. They court it. They understand that strength is built not in moments of ease, but in moments of resistance. The fourth secret is the power of the pause. In our hyper-reactive world, the person who responds instantly appears strong, but the Stoics knew that true strength lies in delayed response. Seneca advised counting to 4 before speaking when angry and waiting a full day before responding to anything that triggers strong emotion. This isn't procrastination or avoidance. This is strategic emotional management. When you pause, you create space between trigger and response. In that space lives your power to choose. The unshakable person never acts from a place of emotional hijacking. They feel the emotion fully, then decide consciously whether acting on it serves their highest good. Most conflicts that seem urgent in the moment reveal themselves as trivial when viewed through the lens of time. Most words spoken in anger would be left unsaid if given an hour's reflection. Most decisions made in fear would be made differently with a clear mind. The pause is where wisdom lives. It's where you reclaim your power from your impulses and make choices from your deepest values rather than your immediate reactions. The fifth secret is understanding the profound strength found in silence. In a world that rewards the loudest voice, the most provocative opinion, and the fastest comeback, the Stoics discovered that silence is often the most powerful response. Not the silence of weakness or withdrawal, but the silence of strength and choice. When others are yelling, your silence speaks volumes. When others are gossiping, your silence protects your integrity. When others are complaining, your silence preserves your energy for productive action. Epictetus taught that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason: to listen twice as much as we speak. The unshakable person doesn't feel compelled to defend their every action, explain their every decision, or respond to every criticism. They understand that your reputation is built not by what you say about yourself, but by what your actions say about you over time. There is tremendous power in letting your work speak for itself, your character speak for itself, your results speak for themselves. When you master the art of strategic silence, you discover that often the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. The sixth secret involves liberating yourself from the desperate need for external validation. The opinion of others becomes irrelevant when you develop an internal scorecard based on your own values and standards. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that the approval of others is not necessary for living a good life. The unshakable person doesn't perform for applause or avoid action for fear of criticism. They develop an internal compass so strong that external winds cannot blow them off course. This doesn't mean becoming arrogant or dismissive of feedback. It means distinguishing between constructive input from people you respect and random opinions from people who don't know your journey, your values, or your goals. When your sense of worth comes from within, based on whether you're living according to your principles rather than meeting others' expectations, you become immune to both praise and criticism. You do the right thing not because others are watching, but because it aligns with who you choose to be. This internal validation makes you unshakable because no external force can take away what you have given yourself. The seventh and final secret is the practice of returning to the present moment. The Stoics understood that anxiety lives in the future and regret lives in the past, but power lives in the present. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events. And when you realize this, you find strength. The unshakable person doesn't waste mental energy worrying about things that might happen or ruminating about things that already have. They focus their full attention on what they can control right now, in this moment. When you ground yourself in the present, you access all your resources, your full intelligence, your complete emotional range, your entire creative capacity. The present moment is where all your power lives because it's the only place where you can take action. Everything else is just story, speculation, or memory. By training your mind to return consistently to the here and now, you become unshakable because you're always operating from your point of maximum power and influence. Becoming unshakable doesn't mean becoming cold, distant, or unfeeling. It means becoming deeply in control of yourself and your responses to life. It means developing such strong inner foundations that external storms cannot knock you down. The unshakable person feels deeply but reacts wisely. They care intensely but remain detached from outcomes they cannot control. They engage fully with life, but don't let life's chaos define their inner state. True strength is quiet. It doesn't announce itself or seek attention. It simply exists, solid and unmovable, like a mountain that remains unchanged whether the weather brings sunshine or storms. This is your birthright as a human being, the ability to choose your response to any situation, to find meaning in any circumstance, and to remain unshakable no matter what life brings your way. The Stoics showed us the path. Now it's time to walk it.